I spent 18 years loving my teacher in silence until his son came back and refused to let me love anyone but him. I still remember the sound first. Not the vows, not the applause, the laughter. Bright, warm, careless, and it hurt more than anything. I stood at the edge of the crowd, fingers clenched around a glass I never drank from, watching Lin Wen smile at someone who wasn't me. Of course, it wasn't supposed to be me. It was never supposed to be me. Yi Qing, why are you standing there? Come greet them. His voice, Lin Wen's voice, cut through me like it always did. Gentle, familiar, unaware. I forced a smile, walked forward. Each step felt like I was walking toward something irreversible. Congratulations, teacher. Lin Wen. My voice didn't tremble. He smiled soft, warm. The same way he always had. Thank you, Yi Qing. You've grown up well. Grown up. Right. I wondered what he would say if he knew what I had become. Not a good student. Not a younger brother. Something far worse. I glanced at the bride, Chen Lihua. Elegant. Composed. Radiant. Standing beside him like she belonged there. Like she had every right to. Everything I could never be. Everything I had no right to compete with. Stay for dinner, Lin Wen said, resting a hand on my shoulder. That small touch. It almost broke me. I nodded. I stayed. I smiled. I played the part. Because that was what I had always done. From that day on, I buried it. All of it. The way my chest tightened when Lin Wen stood too close. The way I memorized his habits, his voice, his quiet kindness. The way I wanted more. Far more. Than I should. I rewrote myself. I became safe. Harmless. Familiar. A younger brother. Years passed like that. 18 of them. I stayed close. Close enough to be trusted. Far enough to never cross the line. I visited during holidays. Helped when needed. I remained part of the family. I even watched their son grow up. Lin Yuza. He used to follow me everywhere. Quiet. Observant. Too persistent for a child. Brother Yi Qing, he would call, tugging at my sleeve. I never thought much of it. He was just a child. Just a child. Until one day, he wasn't. I saw him again after years. Taller. Sharper. Different. And his gaze lingered. Too long. Long time no see. Yi Qing. His voice had changed. Lower. Controlled. Dangerous. Something in my chest tightened. Not like before. This wasn't quiet longing. This felt like being seen. And that terrified me. I forced a smile. You've grown, Lin Yuza. He stepped closer. Too close. Close enough that I had to look up. Close enough that I noticed the way his eyes locked onto mine. Like he had been waiting. I have, he said. A pause. Then. I've been waiting. My heartbeat stumbled. What? He didn't answer immediately. Just watched me. Studied me. Like he already knew everything I had spent 18 years trying to hide. And in that moment, I felt it. Something shifting. Something inevitable. Something I could no longer control. I should have walked away. I should have left right then. But I didn't. And that was my first mistake. I told myself it was nothing. Just a return. Just coincidence. Just Lin Yuza being different. But I knew better. I had spent 18 years learning how to survive feelings I was never allowed to name. I recognized danger when it stopped pretending. And Lin Yuza had stopped pretending. Come over tonight. The message appeared without greeting. No softness. No hesitation. Just certainty. I stared at the screen. Thumb hovering. Heartbeat uneven. I could ignore it. I should ignore it. Another message appeared. I'll be waiting. Not if you come. Not can you come. Waiting. Like my answer didn't matter. Like it had already been written for me. I exhaled slowly. And still I went. His apartment was quiet. Too clean. Too controlled. Like Lin Yuza himself. The door wasn't locked. Of course it wasn't. I stepped inside. Why did you call me here? My voice echoed slightly. Too exposed in the silence. He didn't answer immediately. He was by the window, half turned, watching me like I was the only thing in the room that mattered. You came. Not a question. A statement. I said I would. A lie that felt too small to matter anymore. His lips curved slightly. Not warmth. Not kindness. Recognition. You always do. My chest tightened. That's not true. It is. He stepped forward. Slow. Measured. Closing distance like it was inevitable. Like resistance didn't exist. You're nervous. I'm not. You are. I exhaled sharply. This is pointless, Lin Yuza. That made him pause. Just briefly. Then, you still call me that. What? Like I'm still that kid behind you. His voice lowered slightly. Sharper. I'm not. Something in my stomach tightened. I know you're not. He stopped in front of me. Too close again. Always too close. Then look at me properly. I am. No. A quiet command. Not loud. Not aggressive. Absolute. You're still looking at everyone else through him. The words hit too accurately. My breath caught. Don't say that. Why? Because it was true. Because Lin Wen, the man I buried myself beside for 18 years, still existed in every hesitation I made. You don't understand, I said quietly. Lin Yu's gaze sharpened. Then explain it. Silence stretched. Heavy. Pressing. I couldn't. Not fully. Not safely. I can't do this, I said instead. A retreat disguised as control. Lin Yuza laughed softly. Not amused. Not kind. You already are. And then, he lifted his phone. The screen lit up between us. Messages. Photos. Observations. All of it. Evidence of something I had denied for years. My throat tightened. You've been watching me. Always. No shame. No apology. Pride. If this gets out, I whispered. He tilted his head slightly. It won't. A pause. Then. Unless you leave me. The words settled between us like a lock clicking shut. I looked at him. Really looked. Lin Yuza. No longer a boy. No longer distant. Something far more dangerous. What do you want? I asked quietly. His answer didn't change. You. No hesitation. No softness. Just truth. And I hated how much I understood it. Because part of me already belonged there. I closed my eyes briefly. Just once. When I opened them, nothing had changed. Except me. Fine. The word fell out heavier than I expected. Lin Yuza didn't smile. Didn't celebrate. He just watched me, like he had been waiting for that exact moment. You'll stay, he said. Not a question. A certainty. And I knew. He wasn't wrong. Because I had already started. And stopping was no longer simple. I started noticing it in fragments. Small gaps in time. Unanswered calls. Messages I didn't send back. And Lin Yuza never complained. That was the part that unsettled me most. Come over tonight. Same words. Same timing. No pressure. No urgency. Just certainty. Like he already knew I'd say yes. I didn't reply immediately. My phone stayed in my hand long after the screen dimmed. Behind me, the door opened. Yi Qing. Lin Wen. I froze for half a second before turning. He stood there, still composed, still calm. The same man I had known for 18 years. Except now, his eyes lingered longer than before. You've been distant lately. His tone wasn't accusing. Just observant. Too observant. I've been busy, I said quickly. A reflex. A shield. Lin Wen studied me for a moment, then nodded, but he didn't move away. Instead, he stepped inside, closed the door behind him. I ran into Chun Lihua yesterday. My stomach tightened at the mention of his wife's name. Okay. My voice came out flatter than intended. She asked about you. A pause. Then. She said Lin Yuza has been different lately. My pulse shifted. Just slightly. I kept my expression steady. That's normal. He's grown. Lin Wen didn't answer right away. Just looked at me. Like he was waiting for something beneath my words to surface. It didn't. Finally. I see. He turned slightly toward the hallway, then stopped. Yi Qing. My name sounded heavier in his voice. Yes. If anything is bothering you. A pause. Not forced. Careful. You can tell me. Something inside my chest tightened painfully. Because that sentence used to feel safe. Now it felt like a test I couldn't pass. I'm fine, I said. Too fast. Too clean. Lin Wen didn't look convinced. But he didn't push. He never did. That was the problem. All right, he said quietly. Then left. The door clicked shut behind him. And I exhaled. Only when I realized I had been holding my breath. My phone lit up again. Lin Yuza. I'm outside. No explanation. No waiting. Just presence. I stared at the message. Then moved. Outside, the air felt colder than it should have been. Lin Yuza leaned against the wall, hands in his pockets, as if he had all the time in the world. You took long. I was busy. He smiled faintly. That's what you always say. I didn't respond. He pushed off the wall and stepped closer. Not rushing. Not forcing. Just closing space like it belonged to him. Something happened, he said. Not a question. My fingers tightened slightly. No. A lie again. He tilted his head. You're getting worse at that. I'm not lying. This time, my voice held firmer. He didn't argue. Just watched me. And then, softly, did my father talk to you? That landed harder than expected. I hesitated. Too long. That was enough. Lin Yuza straightened slightly. Expression shifting. Not anger. Not shock. Understanding. He's starting to notice. My stomach dropped slightly. Notice what? Lin Yuza stepped closer. This time, there was no casual distance left. Us. The word shouldn't have existed. Not like that. Not here. There is no us, I said quickly. Too quickly. He smiled faintly. Then why are you shaking? I wasn't. Not visibly. But he always noticed anyway. You should stop this, I said. A weak attempt. He didn't react. Just looked at me. I can't. Lin Yuza. I tried. He interrupted quietly. The tone shifted. Slightly. I tried to leave it alone. I tried to ignore it. A pause. Then. But you don't leave my head. Silence dropped between us. Heavy. Unstable. I didn't ask for this, I said. I know. No blame. No accusation. Just acceptance. And that made it worse. Behind him, a phone buzzed. He checked it briefly. Expression tightening. My mother wants to meet you. I froze. Chen Lihua? Yes. That name again. Grounding everything I was trying to keep separate. Why? Lin Yuza looked at me directly. Because she already suspects something. My breath stalled. And she's not angry, he added. A pause. Then. She's curious. That was worse. Because curiosity meant exposure. And exposure meant collapse. I stepped back slightly. I can't do this. You already are. His voice was calm again. Too calm. And I realized something then. He wasn't chasing me anymore. He was waiting for me to stop running. And I didn't know if I was still capable of it. It started with a dinner invitation. Not from Lin Yuza. Not from Lin Wen. From Chen Lihua. The message was polite. Too polite. The kind of politeness that didn't ask for refusal. I'd like to see you tomorrow evening. Just a family dinner. Family. That word didn't belong to me anymore. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. Then I accepted. Because refusing would have meant admitting I was already cornered. The Lin residence felt unchanged when I arrived. Same quiet walls. Same controlled elegance. But the air was different. Heavier. Like something had already been said without words. Chen Lihua was waiting in the dining room. Calm. Composed. Perfect posture. A woman who had spent her life reading rooms before entering them. And she was reading me now. Yi Qing, she said softly. Please sit. I did. Carefully. Lin Wen arrived a few minutes later. He paused when he saw me, just briefly, then sat across from Chun Lihua like nothing was unusual. But his eyes didn't stay still. They kept returning to me. Lin Yuza was absent. That absence felt intentional. Dinner began like a performance. Small talk, neutral topics, controlled laughter that didn't reach anyone's eyes. Then, Chun Lihua set down her chopsticks. Yi Qing. My name cut through the table. Clean. Direct. I looked up. She was watching me closely now. Not hostile. Not warm. Measuring. I've been observing something for a while, she said. Lin Wen's hand paused slightly. My chest tightened. What? She smiled faintly. Not unkind. Not reassuring either. Lin Yuza changes when he's around you. Silence dropped instantly. Even the room seemed to stop breathing. That's normal, I said carefully. He's grown up. Chun Lihua tilted her head slightly. That's not what I mean. My fingers tightened under the table. Lin Wen spoke for the first time. Lihua. A warning. She didn't look at him, just kept her eyes on me. I don't think this is simple admiration, she continued softly. I think it's something deeper. My throat went dry. You're mistaken, I said. Too fast again. Too defensive. She nodded slowly. As a mother, I don't like being mistaken. The word mother hit differently. Not accusation. Not ignorance. Authority. Then she leaned slightly forward. Her voice dropped. But I also don't like pretending I don't see what's in front of me. My pulse tightened. You're overthinking this, I said quietly. Am I? Her gaze didn't move. A pause. Then. Or are you underestimating my son? The room shifted. Subtle. Dangerous. Lin Wen finally spoke again. Lihua, that's enough. But she didn't stop. Not yet. I raised him, she said. I know when he's lying. My stomach tightened. And I know when he's protecting someone. Silence again. Thicker this time. Lin Wen's expression changed slightly. Just barely. But I saw it. Recognition. Slow. Unwanted. Chun Lihua turned her gaze slightly toward him now. And I think you already know too. That landed harder than anything before. Lin Wen didn't respond immediately. Just looked at me. Longer than usual. And something in his eyes shifted. Yi Qing. My name again. But different this time. Not gentle. Not familiar. Careful. What is going on? My chest tightened. I couldn't answer. Not honestly. Not safely. Chun Lihua stood slowly. I'll leave you two to talk. She paused beside me briefly. Her voice softened slightly. But don't let this go too far. Then she left. Footsteps faded. Silence remained. Just me and Lin Wen. He didn't speak immediately. That silence was worse than anger. Finally, Lin Yuza came to me. My breath stopped. He said something strange, Lin Wen continued. My heart tightened. What did he say? Lin Wen studied me. Carefully. Then, nothing inappropriate. A pause. But emotional. My hands went cold. He said he won't leave. Another pause. Unless you tell him to. Silence collapsed again. My throat tightened painfully. I didn't ask for this, I said again. But this time, it sounded weaker. Lin Wen didn't look away. I know. That answer wasn't what I expected. You know? He nodded slowly. I've known something was wrong for a while. A pause. Then. But I didn't want to believe it. My chest ached. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Lin Wen exhaled slowly. Tired. Older than before. Because ignoring it is no longer possible. That sentence felt like a verdict. Outside the room, somewhere in the house, a door closed. Lin Yuza had arrived. And everything was about to break up. The door opened before I was ready to breathe again. Lin Yuza stepped in. No hesitation. No apology for arriving late. No glance at anyone else in the room. Only me. Yi Qing. My name, said like it had been waiting all night to be spoken. Lin Wen didn't move. Chun Lihua had already left the room earlier, but her words still felt like they were hanging in the air. Don't let this go too far. Too late for that. I stood slowly. Why are you here? Lin Yuza didn't answer immediately. His eyes shifted briefly to Lin Wen, then back to me. Measured. Calm. Controlled, but not empty. I came to finish what I started. Lin Wen's voice cut in, steady but no longer soft. Yuza. A warning. A father's instinct. But Lin Yuza didn't flinch. He finally turned slightly toward him. I'm not here to argue with you. Silence snapped tight. Then he looked back at me, and everything else disappeared again. You said no, he said quietly. A pause. Then, you said fine. My chest tightened. That was about survival, I said. Not defense. Truth. He nodded once. I know. That answer didn't relieve anything. It made it heavier. Lin Yuza stepped closer. Not rushing. Not forcing. Just closing the space like it had always belonged to him. I left because you told me to, he said. My throat tightened slightly. You think I don't know what that cost me? A pause. His voice lowered. Not angry. Just honest. I do. That was the problem. He always did. Lin Wen finally stood. Slowly. Carefully. Like every movement was being measured against something invisible. You both need to stop. Lin Yuza didn't look at him. I already did. Then, he turned fully toward me. And I came back. My heartbeat shifted. Unsteady. Why? I asked quietly. A simple question. Too late for simplicity. Lin Yuza hesitated for the first time. Just a fraction. Then, because I couldn't leave you in a life where you never choose anything. Silence. Heavy. Final. Lin Wen exhaled slowly behind us. Not anger. Not denial. Something older. Understanding. So that's it, he said quietly. Neither of us looked at him immediately. Lin Wen continued, voice controlled, but no longer distant. I suspected for a while, but I didn't want to define it. A pause. Then, I won't interfere. That landed harder than resistance would have. Lin Yuza finally looked at him. You're not angry? Lin Wen shook his head slightly. I was, he admitted. But not anymore. His gaze shifted to me. Long. Measured. I think I understood something too late. My chest tightened. What? That you were never staying because of me. Silence answered for me. Lin Wen nodded once. Then I don't have the right to stop what you actually choose. Something in my chest cracked. Not pain. Release. Beat. Lin Yuza stepped closer again. This time, no hesitation. Choose, he said. Not demand. Not pressure. A line drawn at my feet. Beat. My breath slowed. For the first time, no escape routes left. I looked at Lin Wen. The past. The anchor. The life I had built myself around without ever belonging fully to. Then I looked at Lin Yuza. The interruption. The chaos. The truth I had tried to bury under 18 years of silence. I spent my whole life not choosing. My voice came out quieter than expected. Lin Yuza didn't move. Lin Wen didn't interrupt. I exhaled slowly. Then, I'm done with that. A pause. The room held its breath with me. I choose him. Lin Yuza didn't smile immediately. Didn't celebrate. He just closed his eyes for a brief second, like something heavy had finally been set down. Lin Wen nodded once. Slow. Final. I see. No resentment. No regret spoken aloud. Just acceptance. Outside the window, light shifted. Time moving forward without permission. Months later, there was no grand announcement. No dramatic escape. Just quiet decisions that finally stopped hurting. A small ceremony. Simple. Private. No audience except those who mattered. Chun Lihua stood beside Lin Wen, watching quietly. No interference, no conflict left to burn. Lin Wen adjusted Lin Yuza's collar once before stepping back. Not as authority. As acknowledgement. You'll take care of him? He asked softly. Lin Yuza didn't look away from me. Yes. No hesitation. No performance. I stood there, breathing in a life I never thought I would accept without fear. Lin Yuza leaned slightly closer. Still running, he murmured. I let out a quiet breath. Not anymore. He smiled then. Finally. Real this time. And for the first time in a long while. Nothing in me tried to leave.